Hi crafty friends, welcome to another card making tutorial here on my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this happy birthday card, and it's actually part of a little card set here that I decided to make today, all using the same backgrounds, just changing up the sentiments and the designs a little bit. Hi there, my name's Nicole LeBlanc and I like to share card making videos here on my channel, and I invite you to check out my blog or the description box below for more information. Okay, so to get started here, we are going to do some stamping, which is essentially going to be some heat embossing today. So as you can see here, I've already pulled out my MISTI. I've treated some white cardstock with an anti-static powder tool. And now you can see that I'm just pressing on some Versamark ink onto my stamp. So this stamp that I'm using today is from Pinkfresh Studio. It's called Darling Dahlias. And it has a coordinating stencil set that you can get that we're going to be using here a little bit later in the card. So essentially what we're going to do is we are going to gold heat emboss this stamped image, and then we're going to do some ink blending on top of it. So as you can see here, I'm just pulled out my cardstock and I'm just pouring on some gold embossing powder. The embossing powder today that I'm using is from Hero Arts, and it's just the regular gold embossing powder. And I'm just going to tap off any excess embossing powder kind of hanging out here on my cardstock today. And then I'm going to take this off screen and melt it until it's smooth. Okay, so now that I'm back here with my image that's now heat set, I'm going to start with some stencils. So these stencils, as I mentioned earlier, they are also called Darling Dahlias, and they're a set of 5 layering stencils that you essentially layer up together to color in these floral images, the leaves, and then the background as well. So I'm sure that if you've seen other videos of mine before, you're no stranger to this kind of stationery tool that I'm using here today. This is the Make Art Station from Ranger. I really like to use this when I'm ink blending just so that I don't have to tape any of the layers down. The magnets really hold the paper here in place nice, and I don't have to worry about anything ripping when I remove tape as I used to do. So as you can see here on the left, I have a selection of Pinkfresh Studio mini ink cubes set up, and I am just one by one layering these stencils down and using some Catherine Pooler blender brushes to fill in the stencils. So the lightest pink there that you saw here a moment ago, that was Ballet Slipper. And this darker pink that I'm using right now is called Sparkling Rose. And then in a moment, I'm going to start stenciling in the leaves. And the lighter of the two colors on the leaves is Ocean Breeze, and then the darker color is Aquamarine. So as far as the stenciling goes, it's really honestly just basic stenciling, trying to make it as even as possible, and then just trying to darken up a little bit the areas near the middle of the flowers and then near the bottom of the leaves, just to give it a little something extra in terms of dimension. You don't have to do that though. Even on some of these leaves I did forget to do that, and they still look great, just simply ink blending them in just that one solid color at a time. So after I went ahead and inked in the leaves and the flowers, I took a look at it here and it did look good. And I kind of waffled on whether or not I wanted to color in the background, but then decided, you know, why not? If I don't like it, I could always start over and do one without the background colored in. So I went ahead and pulled out a light gray color from Pinkfresh Studios. This is Misty Coast. And I used a very, very light hand to apply this ink to the little background parts here on this stencil. And I'm just going to lift off that stencil and show you here what we're working with. And I was really happy with the results at this point. So for the sentiment today, we're going to be doing some heat foiling. The sentiments that I'm using, they're also from Pinkfresh Studio. This is their collection called Brushed Sentiments. And these hot foil plates actually come in a set of 2. So you will be seeing me hot foil a couple of these sentiment plates. Anyways, I've also pulled out my Gemini Foil Press. It's already been warmed up, so I'm just going ahead and building my sandwich for the foil press. Gonna go ahead, zip that timer through for 30 seconds. It's on medium heat for 30 seconds. And then off screen, I went ahead and ran that through my Gemini Junior. And then I'm gonna show you here what the results are from that beautiful, beautiful hot foil plate. So we're going to do the exact same thing again. As you can see there, I have another hot foil plate. I have it face up. Then I'm covering that with some gold Spellbinders foil, shiny side down. On top of that, I layer in 2 sheets of white cardstock, and then I put the plate on for the foil press. Go ahead, click the button there. It's going to run for 30 seconds. And then off screen, I'm going to zip that through my Gemini Junior die cutting machine, and then bring it back here for you for the big reveal. And we're just going to lift off the plate, lift off that extra cardstock shim, and then here we go. Here's the rest of our sentiments. Beautiful. I just love the shine on those. So similarly to how the sentiments are designed on the 2 plates, the coordinating dies are also in 2 kind of big pieces. So here's the first one here, just lining that up, zipping it through my Gemini Junior die cutting machine, and then I'm going to pull out the other die and die cut the rest of those sentiments. So as you can see here, I have a ton of sentiments, and it's at this point that I decided to off screen actually go back and make a few more of those backgrounds so that I can make a nice fun little collection here just to use up all those sentiments. Off screen, I did also do some additional die cutting. I die cut out those sentiments 2 more times just from plain white cardstock, and I also trimmed out some of those scalloped rectangles there that you can see in the top corner. So right now I'm just using some liquid glue here to adhere these sentiments together. This is the Barely Arts liquid glue. I've been using this for the last little while, and I'm really liking the super fine tip that you get on there. I like that it lets you control how much glue you're putting down. So when you're layering up these little die cuts, you don't end up with a bunch of, glue oozing out the edges when you're smooshing it together. So just going ahead there, lining those up as best I can, and then when I'm happy with the placement, kind of pinching them together, and then I like to set an acrylic block on top so that they dry nice and flat. So I'm going to do the same here with this scalloped die. This scalloped rectangle die, I believe, is also from Pink Fresh Studio. I'll be sure to link it below. But yeah, once again, just layering up 2 layers of white cardstock, followed by, on the top of this one here, I've just gone ahead and cut it once from some gold cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and add that gold foil layer to the top. Just give it some nice shine to go with those beautiful shiny sentiments. So at this point, we're going to continue on with kind of assembling the card. So I'm just taking a look here to see that I'm happy with everything. I did go ahead and slightly trim down my background panel just a little bit to give it a nice white edge around the outside. And then right now on the back of that background panel, I'm just adding a big piece of foam tape across the back to add some fun dimension across the entire panel. And I'm just centering that kind of as best I can and pressing that down. And then now it's time to add on these other fun elements that we made. So first off, adding on the scalloped rectangle, once again, using that fine tip on the Barely Arts glue to make sure that I can get a nice skinny bead of glue around the edge of this pretty skinny frame. And then I'm going to use the liquid glue once again, just to adhere down the happy birthday gold foil sentiments. I do like to use liquid glue for these kinds of things just because it does give you that couple seconds of wiggle room. So if you stick a sentiment down and then realize that, it's off-centered or not exactly positioned the way that you wanted it, it will let you kind of scoot it around as long as you're quick within a couple seconds or so. So just eyeballing that, making sure it's straight, and then giving that a nice press down. At this point, all that's left to do is fold my card. So I've pulled out my bone folder here, just running that along the edge of the card. Probably would have been a little bit easier had I done that before adhering on all the items on the front of the card. But nevertheless, here we are, we're done. So at this point, I'm just going to show you one final look here of all the cards that I ended up making in this collection. I went ahead and added the inside scalloped border to one of the cards, and then the other 2 cards I did just leave the borders blank, but I did choose to embellish one with some of these really fun gold embellishments. As always, I invite you to check out the videos on your screen for more crafty inspiration, and until next time, I hope you are keeping it crafty. Bye!